Okay, everybody, welcome to another weekly Flow Academy here. Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock. We're here every week. Well, except for the next few weeks because we're going to be gone. But most of the time we're here at 9 o'clock on Wednesdays to bring some kind of new idea to you. And today we are talking about having a breakthrough. And I love this graphic. So I'm going to try and talk as long as I can here on this page, just because I think this looks so cool. Kevin, how are you doing this morning?
I'm great, except for
are you really great?
I'm on a little cold medication today, so I may be a little bit woozy, but I'm going to try to be as smart as I can.
I think there's nothing wrong with having a drunken person on the class to kind of chime in. It'll be a lot of fun. Seriously, we're talking about breakthroughs, and for me, a breakthrough is something. First of all, I didn't even understand. Does that exist? What does that mean? Does it work for me? Why do I even care about a breakthrough? And having had a few breakthroughs in my life at different points, I can tell you that it's so exciting to have a breakthrough. And sometimes there's also this period right before a breakthrough where you kind of feel like you're on the verge of, like, you're just right on the cusp of this big change, this kind of paradigm shift in your life. And that's what we're talking about in a breakthrough. And sometimes breakthroughs happen just by sheer will of, like, man, I am not happy with the way this one area of my life is going, right? And then other times it can be a purposeful, like, decision where you go, I'm not happy, but I'm gonna purposely look for this way out to get to the next level.
I also want to add, breakthroughs can be huge, as you just said, big paradigm shift, but they can also be tiny little things that happen to you, like, you know what, I really want to start, and maybe this is a small paradigm shift, but you know what, if I would just get up a little bit earlier every day, I'd be able to accomplish more. And I know that's a tiny little shift of, you know what, I'm going to get up an hour earlier, but once you make that happen, the breakthrough is the fact that you're able to do that much more during that hour. So these breakthroughs can be big, life-changing things, but they can also be tiny little breakthroughs that make a big adjustment in your life.
Well, and I think that's a great point. And really what you're talking about is you can have these minor adjustments in your daily behavior in terms of how purposeful you are about any one thing, right? Like maybe, as you said, getting up earlier allows for you to do so many more things, which I think is a great one, by the way. I've had that breakthrough myself, but the breakthrough is what comes through from that, right? From doing that. So,
right.
So what's the purpose of the class today? The idea here is that we first want to talk about what a breakthrough is and how it comes about, and then also give you a chance to have that breakthrough, to give you some ideas on things that might lead to your own breakthroughs in your life. Sometimes we get stuck and it seems like there's no way out of our current circumstances. That sounds a little bit dramatic. And remember, breakthroughs can be personal, or they can be professional, or they can be a combination of both. Sometimes you can make personal breakthroughs that lend greatly to your business breakthroughs as well. But the fact is that it's not true. You are not stuck. You can always get out of whatever circumstance it is that you feel like you keep butting your head up against over and over again. You can actually stop that behavior, although sometimes it's really challenging, right?
Yeah, and the other thing is it sometimes is not immediate. As soon as you can identify what needs to change and what needs to happen to make that happen, it may not happen overnight. But with changing behavior and changing the way you approach things, you can make it happen. And again, it may be over time, it may happen really quickly.
100%. So we're going to talk about that. That's in terms of what will you know at the end of the class. These are the kinds of things we're going to be looking for. And at the very least, we just want to make sure this is our big message. Whatever it is that you are challenged with right now, and only you know what that is, there is a way out, whatever it is. So how will this help in flow? The flow can be the direct result of having a breakthrough. What we're constantly talking about, being in the flow. We're called Flow Academy. That's what this whole thing is about. And it's the lack of breakthroughs. It's the redundancy of kind of bad behaviors or kind of a stuck mindset that keep us from being in flow. And being in flow is when everything is just working, right? You're not working too hard. You're not being too lazy. You've got just the right amount of family time and work time, and the business is just flowing in, and there's no chaos. You're not working too many hours and that kind of thing. And all of that is a result of having breakthroughs and changing some behaviors. So what is a breakthrough? When will it occur, and can everyone have one? So a breakthrough, again, is a paradigm shift in how you look at something or an action that you take. So that at the end of that, you're literally, the results of whatever your behaviors are or your thoughts are completely different than where they were before. And the actual benefit, like, for example, one of my breakthroughs was I just couldn't stop only doing 12 transactions a year. Like, for several years, I just kept going, one transaction a month, one transaction a month. And then I finally had a breakthrough, both in some behavior and some mindset, that allowed me to do more deals than that. And then I had this new kind of, I don't know, barrier where I could only do 24 deals a year. And so it's breaking through that barrier of these kind of like weird glass ceilings that keep us from holding, that hold us back.
So Rick, what types of things did you do to create that breakthrough from 12 deals a year? Because I know that it is really easy to get into that pattern and not even realize that you're there. So you had the understanding that I need to get past this and get more transactions. Was it your mindset? What did you do to make that breakthrough?
100%. Great question. I appreciate you asking. So definitely mindset was a big part of it. Some part of me was almost saying, this is all you can do. And even saying, this is a lot, like, good for you. Like, this is enough. And at the same time, of course, I was saying it wasn't. So it was this weird kind of argument almost in my brain. But the biggest thing I did was I actually started making myself available to being coached through several different avenues, whether it was going to, weekend seminars or signing up for classes like this, or actually hiring a coach. And I remember the very first coach I had, she talked about, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, is learning how to be comfortable outside of my comfort zone.
That's right.
And a really big part of having a breakthrough is getting out of your comfort zone, right? So going back to your question, when will this occur? It occurred when I finally said, okay, enough is enough. I need to do something differently. I'm going to avail myself to outside people, because my best intentions and actions and my best thinking and everything led me to not getting the results that I wanted. So I really needed to have somebody else, some outside entity, whether it was a book or a coach or a trainer or a mentor, be like, hey, have you tried this? Have you noticed this? Hey, I've looked at your behavior and it seems like you continually do this. Maybe we should try something different. So it's going to occur when you are willing to take the action, not just the beginning part, which is being open to, looking at things differently, but actually doing things different. The last part is, can everyone have one? I believe, and Kevin, you tell me what you think. I think everybody can have a breakthrough. However, it does require effort and work. It's not like you pointed out earlier, it may not happen overnight.
That's right. And I think anybody can do it for sure. You have to have the desire to do it. You have to want it, because if you don't want it, it's not going to happen. And that's part of mindset. And I think the other thing is that you need to have some sort of an action plan. It's not just going to happen poof. You need to have an action plan that allows you to take the steps that are needed and necessary to make that shift.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about in our other class, words to eliminate, and just wanting it is a beginning, but it is not the end, right? So
right.
The part of the challenge for so many of us is this: I want to be this. I want to be a big producer. I want to be a great husband or wife. I want to be a great parent. Like, the state of wanting is not what we're shooting for, but it is a great indication of where a breakthrough could occur, right? So if you find yourself saying, I want this, I want that, that's it. That's like a little red flag going, hey, that's where there's some behaviors that could be changed to get you to going from want to here's where I am. This is where I live. This is who this is how I show up. Okay, so part of this is determining the real from the imagined and looking for the counterfeit beliefs. So Kevin, do you have any thoughts on that, what we're talking about?
Well, the idea of this is what I believe I can do, or this is what I'm told that I can do, or this is how I was brought up with these beliefs of this is what I will or can be, are really set deep inside of you, especially when you're a kid, to be quite honest. And it really is identifying some of those things and your beliefs and your limitations that can really kind of form what happens to you, fast forward into your adult life. And I think identifying some of those things that are holding you back, identifying and understanding that can help you, once you kind of eliminate those, can help you to move forward with what breakthrough you feel that you need to make. So I think it's belief in yourself, and it's really having an understanding of yourself that helps you make that happen.
Exactly. The counterfeit belief is one that, just like counterfeit money or whatever, it's one that appears to be real. This is something, maybe a narrative that you're telling yourself when you really are purposeful about examining this belief, it may not be correct at all. And Kevin, we've talked about, like, we both have had, in our upbringing, conversations around money, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And where our parents had ideas around what money meant and what it represented. And some of that ended up holding us back at periods of our life because it was built into our brain that money represented something that wasn't necessarily good, right? And that's a good example of a counterfeit belief. It doesn't mean that whatever you learned as a child or were told by your parents is wrong. What it means is re-examine what your beliefs are, and then as an adult now go, wait a minute, is that what I believe, or do I have my own belief around that?
That's right. That's right.
And again, what is your narrative? What are the stories that you're telling yourself? Like we have one student who, and this isn't just one. There are many. I forget about the one student. There are so many people that are in their business, and they are, they're working 70 hours a week, and they really believe that they have to work 70 hours a week to maintain the production that they're doing. That is their narrative. And that is just simply not accurate. There's a way around that. But until you believe, first you have to look at your own narrative and go, wait, is that actually true? I wonder if is there other things that I could be doing? Is there places I could change my behavior to work less hours and have the same amount of production? And if I can't come up with that on my own, are there other people like coaches saying, hey, actually, you can do that. And here, we're going to teach you how to do that. And our experience is that we are doing that. We are having high production. We're not working 70 hours a week, right?
That's right. And I think that a lot of it is, and it's really difficult sometimes to change that mindset, because it's something that, especially if we have paradigms that we have grown up with, but making those minor little shifts can make the biggest difference.
Exactly. So what are the breakthroughs that are needed in your life? This is a question that you get to ask yourself. And so one of the things that Kevin and I talked about, because it's the end of the year, now both of us are not big resolution people, right? Because resolutions, they tend to go away within a day or a week or a month, right? But mindset wise, and how you go about, maybe like for me, I a few years ago started having a one-word idea theme for the year. And Kevin, I think you were saying you have a kind of a similar process, right?
Yeah, I do. And I want to talk a little bit about a resolution, and the reason that we have this slide here today. Okay. Right now, and many of you may be watching this much later. We're just a couple days before the end of 2021. And people start thinking about, what do I want to do different next year? And it's very easy at the end of a year with any kind of it's like business planning. We do an annual business plan or a fiscal business plan. And a lot of us look at this end of the year and say, okay, I can now start a fresh beginning. So people say, okay, I'm going to join a gym. I'm going to do these things. And you have the best intentions. But when the new year happens, everything just kind of goes away. So the idea of a resolution is an important thing, but you really need to look at it as a goal. And when you create a goal, go back into the knowledge library and check out our class on goal setting, because there are certain things that have to happen to make a goal work. And so a goal and a resolution are two different things. A resolution is something that you kind of want to do. A goal is something that you will do. So I think it's really important as you look at this breakthrough, and we're using this end of the year just because it's an easy, place in your mind to say, okay, next year I'm going to change this. So really it's looking at what you want to change and creating goals around it.
Okay. So here's some things that will help you get to a breakthrough. If you haven't already, you should be, or hopefully you're get a chance to check out our Daily Navigator class. And the Daily Navigator is a daily accountability program that we teach here and that we all use every day. And the process of the Daily Navigator is that there's some activities on there that you've decided are things that if you do on a regular basis, that will improve your life, whether it's personal, professional, or combination of both. A great way to start a breakthrough and to have a breakthrough is to add something to your Daily Navigator that will lead to that breakthrough that you're accountable to your accountability group for on a regular basis. Another thing is to open yourself up and listen to others. Don't be your own coach. This is the most common thing that people get stuck on, is their own narrative is the very thing that is holding them back, but yet they do not open themselves up to somebody else going, hey, have you noticed this? I'm on the outside looking in. Even as a coach, Kevin and I need the outside people looking in. Kevin and I constantly to each other. Hey, Kevin, I say, did you notice this? He'll go, no. And he'll do the same thing for me.
Yep.
So it's important that you have that outside person that's giving you perspective. I cannot coach myself, right?
That's right.
And then this is, to me, maybe the most important thing. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable. The reason you're stuck where you are is because you only do the things that you are comfortable doing. And that is a limiting behavior. Stepping out of your comfort zone, learning how to be comfortable outside of your comfort zone, like my first coach told me, has been a mantra for me. If I'm uncomfortable, I'm probably on the right track in a lot of ways, right?
If you're uncomfortable, you're growing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a sign of growth, right? It's a growing pain, just like when you were a kid and you were getting older, except for this is an emotional growth. So don't let the discomfort stunt your growth because you go, oh, this hurts. Wait, I'm afraid. Wait, this is making me emotionally uncomfortable. Push through that, and there'll be great things on the other side of it, like a breakthrough.
That's right.
Okay, so action item for the day. Pay attention to your self-talk. This is such a big deal. How are you talking to yourself? What are you saying throughout the day? You might be shocked.
I can't possibly do that. I can't do it. I can't. One of the words to eliminate.
Exactly. It's so, if you were to even write down some of the things that you said to yourself, you might be shocked at the end of the day. I've said more than once that if I treated any of my friends the way I treat myself, I would have no friends, right? So this self-talk and how we talk to ourselves is such a big deal. But a big part of that is the limiting beliefs that we're telling ourselves throughout the day. Pay attention to what you're saying, write it down, and then figure out a way to not have that be part of your, or to listen, it's not going to go away, but to lessen that narrative or to change the narrative to something new through affirmations and other things that we talk about in other classes is going to be a big deal. Anything else on that, Kevin?
No, it is amazing what you tell yourself. And when you flip the switch on what you're telling yourself to telling yourself that you are something else, your brain's going to believe it, and your brain is going to allow that to happen. So you can you can really talk yourself into better, more positive things simply by changing your narrative.
And you can talk yourself into negative, not good things.
Absolutely.
That's how powerful it is. It's amazing. Okay, so action item for your business: create a vision board. This is probably something we could do on our own class, but Kevin, do you want to give let's assume that for some reason somebody's never seen or heard about a vision board, what would you tell them to do?
So it's a very simple sort of thing to do. So these can take all kinds of different forms. You can get a piece of tag board, you can get a piece of cardboard, you can put it on your wall, whatever you want to do. But getting visual things that represent what you want. Maybe maybe you want to upgrade to a certain kind of house, or maybe you want to get a second home, or maybe you want your children to be in a specific school, or anything that you really want to have for your life. You create some kind of a visual indicator of what that is, and you put them all together. And it's something that you're constantly looking at. And as you look at it, your brain starts to realize that is what your reality should be. And I don't want to say magically, but what happens is you manifest it in a certain way because you're constantly looking at it. And a lot of times you're going to get exactly what you were hoping for or visualizing.
Yeah, I did a vision board. It had my kids, or not my kids, it had somebody's kids. So by the way, you're taking pictures from like magazines or the internet or whatever, and you're putting them up on this board that literally you look at every day, which is what Kevin just said. And I had pictures, I had vacations in exotic areas, and then I also had coaches and trainers. Bob Berg was on there, and Tony Robbins and Tom Ferry, and all these great influence people, because I wanted to do that. And so because at the time I wasn't.
Right.
And then here I am, I'm doing it. This is happening, right? You guys are witnessing me living out my vision board. I also went snorkeling with my kids in Hawaii. I've been to a bunch of exotic places. I bought and sold a motorcycle. So all those things happen. I need a new vision board, by the way. So I just want to be accountable. I'm telling everybody right now, I don't have one right now. I need to have one. And I'm just busting myself.
And the other thing I would say is the vision board is something that is always going to be changing. It's things that you constantly will, when you achieve something, take it down and put something else up. So you're constantly looking at these things that you would like to be or want to have involved in your life.
Very good. Okay, so what are the roadblocks going to be? Not
putting the vision board together.
Right. The roadblocks are going to be the kind of the obvious almost, which is this all sounds good when we're talking about it on a class, but the challenge of doing something different is not what your brain wants you to do. The resistance you're going to find around doing things different, whether it's implementing the daily Navigator or having an actual really authentic, honest conversation with yourself, or paying attention to your thoughts. All these new behaviors are, each one of them is going to have their own roadblocks. I think often depending on how much pain you're in, although that's not always the case, but most of the time people need a certain amount of pain to be willing to make some changes. But I think those are some of the roadblocks that are definitely going to be challenging.
I agree. And I would also say, in order to overcome a roadblock, is to share this change that you want to make with those people that are close to you. And it can be if you're doing it through your Navigator, it's going to be your mentors, your peers, and your mentees, but also your family members, people that are your close group of people and friends. Let them know too that you're wanting to go through this, because that support is going to help shift your mind that much more quickly, because you're going to have people supporting you.
Exactly. So that is the end of breakthrough class.
No, it's the beginning of the breakthrough, though.
Beginning of the breakthrough, the end of the class.
Exactly.
We look forward to talking to you about your breakthroughs. Every Thursday at 9:00 Pacific, we are there ready to coach you at our office hours. which has a new name coming soon because it'll sound more exciting. And but what it really means is there's a live coach. Usually it's both Kevin and I are there to help you through whatever you're going through, whether that's breakthrough stuff or questions about your daily Navigator or how to have a great open house, or even personal stuff completely having nothing to do with real estate. We're there for you to ask you those questions, and we look forward to seeing you there. Kevin, do you have any last final words?
Yeah, if you are not finding what you need with regard to the link to these classes, to our live time on Thursdays, just shoot us an email at info@flowcademy.com, and we will be sure to get the information to you as quickly as possible. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a great 2021-2022 New Year's Eve. Our next live class will be at the beginning or middle of January. Is that right, Kevin? That's right. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.